a deviation report. So let's get to the home screen here. This is a magnet field layout. So we've got reports here, and I've got a couple of things already created, but we'll go through the process. Deviation reports, we're going to go ahead and select that. Before you do that, you can come here and add a few custom things to the report. So this is really what the report's going to look like. So I've got our logo here. The deviation report, we call it TEE field report. The field report is topo element, and then the DL report is titled here. So those are all three different reports. We're going to talk about the deviation report. It's going to have this logo. So you can put your company logo there for that. So green check it. It's taken care of. We're going to go to deviation report, and you'll see here I've created a point deviation report. So we got point here. I named it TEE, and it's Nick's list. If we come to like add, for example, we're going to do, or actually let's back up, excuse me. If we go add, let's go ahead and add, and then we'll call it whatever, demo. Okay. And so this is going to be the name of the deviation report. So you're going to have several different versions of the deviation report depending on what you're trying to accomplish and or check. And so the configuration is here. I've got this one, but we're going to do a new one. Let's see here. We'll go to edit, and then we're going to hit add, and we've got our own. So I'm going to call this demo as well. This is for the points. We're trying to establish demo. We're trying to figure out how the points were designed and how they actually were laid out, and we want to know if there's a deviation there when we're doing our layout or our stakeout. So we'll just call it demo point, and its report type is point, like I mentioned. Now this right here, it's got everything selected, so I'm going to bring everything back over. This on the right side, it says selected items. So that's all the stuff that'll come up in the report if we leave it just as is. It's a lot of stuff, so we're going to kind of reduce it a little bit. So I'm going to bring everything back over here. Actually, I'm just going to do it this way. So we don't need this. We don't need that. What I really want to see is that I just want to see the design point and design X, Y, and Z. So that's design point, Y, X, Z. You can even get rid of Z if you're not, concerned with elevation. And what that is that's just your point file list. It's going to have your X, Y, and your Z. So that's how it was designed. And it's how it's supposed to be laid out if it was done perfectly. And then we're going to go to layout point. We're going to keep that there. We're going to get rid of these two. You can keep them if you want, but I'm going to clean it up and get rid of it so the report reads a little bit more direct. Layout point, layout Y, X, Z. We want all that. Delta Y, X, Z. That's going to give us the difference between how it was designed and then how we actually laid it out in the field. The delta readings will give us our, hey, it was done right or it wasn't done right, and that'll identify that in the report. Cut fill, we're going to get rid of that. I want to keep the time on there and get rid of these things here. And let's go ahead and get rid of them. So currently I have design point, Y, X, Z, layout point, layout Y, X, Z, and then delta Y, X, Z, time, and then intolerance. My tolerances, I want to change those. So I want to get readings, and I want to get a reading on whether or not it's intolerant. So we're going to go ahead and do that. You have to do it this way, 0 feet, 0 inches to get quarter inch. We want to have quarter inch tolerance on our X, Y, and Z. So we'll go ahead and do that. And this will show up in the report. So it makes it really easy for us to identify if things are out or not done tight enough or correctly. Green check, green check. Okay, so that's done. Demo points, we've got all of our selected items here. If we scroll up, these are all the things you want to see in the report. We're going to green check. Okay, now we've got this. It's called demo point, green check. And my name again is demo, and then the demo point configuration is here, what we want. and then I'm going to green check that, and we're good to go. So if I go back home and I'm, doing my layout out in the field, I'm going to come to layout, and you're going to notice deviation report demo is loaded. So, and you can toggle, you can switch to the other one if you wanted to, but we're going to keep the one we just created. But that's loaded here, and it'll always stay here for all your jobs moving forward unless you change it. So we're going to go to layout, okay, and I've got it turned on. That's where we're supposed to be. We're somewhere north here. Keep in mind, I'm doing this in my office, so I'm just tricking the software into thinking that the instrument is connected, but it's really not. So record that. See, we're way out, 75 feet by an inch. So we're gonna hit yes. We've got some information to look at. Takes us to our next point, 1006. Green check. Yes. Okay. So now, if we come here, let's go ahead and do one more. So we got a couple points to look at. So green check, and all of our points have been staked. Okay. So we're going to come home, and there's a couple things you can do. You can view it right here if you want. None of these should be intolerance. So intolerance, no, 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 no. The times those points are actually laid out are here. What the deviation is, so you've got, it was designed, X, Y, and Z was designed a certain way, and then how we actually laid it out was done here, which is way off because we had those those tolerance errors come up. And then the net difference is what is delta Y, delta X, delta Z. And then we have our 1/4 inch tolerance here that says, no, they're not in tolerance. Okay, so we're gonna back up. We can spot check that as we're working through the day or at the end of the day. And then the big takeaway here is we want to generate a report to print out as a PDF. So we're gonna come here, we're gonna go to job, and we're gonna go to export. And we've got deviation report selected. We want a PDF format. We're gonna hit next. And then we're gonna do demo, next. And then I'm going to save it in my D folder here, green check. And it was exported. Close. And I named mine TEE, and it just picked up my last one. So that's that. And then if I open up my file folder here, notice, I got demo. I'm gonna open it up, and then my report will be generated here. So it's got my logo, magnet layout report, and then you'll notice it's got the information here. So if you've got 100, 200 points, all this information is going to come through. My design Y, X, Z, layout Y, X, Z, the difference between design and layout here, and then it just strictly calls out, no, those 3 points that you laid out are not in tolerance because your tolerance was a 1/4 inch and we were way past that. So I like to keep in this so notice how it's clean for the most part. You can even just do something simple as just having intolerance and just having it a 1/4 inch. It's nice to have the coordinates here because that really builds your case if you get into a situation where we did it this way and they're saying you didn't. That's, you've got the design coordinates here and design layout, and it doesn't hurt to have it here. But if I go back to the software and I come back and I go to reports, come here and edit, edit. If I have all these things on the selected side, that report becomes real busy and real hard to digest. So preparing, you're going to do a couple different versions of your reports, but just keep in mind this is the most probably the most powerful point or part of this process. Just making sure you've got enough but not too much details here that's going to make that report hard to read. And then from there, you're saving that and you're moving on to the actual layout. And then, you can have several different versions of it. So say you just don't want some of this stuff here and you want design notes. You can create a whole new configuration here, and kind of custom tailor it to what you're after. All right, that's the deviation report video, and hope this is helpful.